farmers follow the new rules or not. And this one's in particularly directed toward the EPA.
Well, I'll take the first one because it involves the DNR. I would point out that we are in the process of hiring an environmental enforcement specialist to dedicate to Kewaunee County, so the answer is yes. We can't snap our fingers and have that person in place and trained overnight, but we have that hiring process in play. We can get somebody hired as soon as possible, get them trained, and get them out on the ground to ensure compliance. So the answer to that is yes.
Speaking for the farmers on this issue, the practices that were laid out by our sensitive area work group are voluntary practices. So the question of is the EPA or the DNR or soil and water going to enforce those, it's really not so much an enforcement question in this case. It's an education and motivation question. The Peninsula Pride organization that we talked about includes 32,000 cows and 57,000 acres in Kewaunee and Southern Door County. That's about 40% of the cows and 40% of the acres. Large farms, small farms, crop farms, so on and so forth. One of the two requirements we have for members of Peninsula Pride Farms is to be committed to continuous improvement. That doesn't mean that you make an improvement one year and you rest on your laurels and stop. Our membership is committed to finding solutions, employing solutions, measuring the results of solutions, and continuing on with our progress. We don't have a situation like there had been decades ago where a manure spreading event would occur and a neighbor would get a brown water event the next day. That's very uncommon now. It used to be much more common. Now we have a situation of a percentage of contaminated wells and a palette of farm practices. Much more complicated to determine where a problem may be occurring and what the solution is. We're committed to finding those solutions. I'd like to summarize the attitude of our membership, and I think many farmers in the county, as being that we feel everybody in the county should have access to clean and healthy drinking water, and we feel the county deserves to be supported by a healthy and sustained dairy industry. We think those two things are both compatible, and we're committed to providing that. We still need tools and the knowledge to do that.
Kewaunee County has seen the greatest herd count increase of any county in the state. Our herd count since 1983 has increased by approximately 90%, from about 56,000 animals in total to about 100,000 today. The waste produced by that 100,000 animals is equivalent to the human waste coming from the city of Green Bay, and Milwaukee, and Des Moines, and St. Louis, and Minneapolis, and Detroit. And often that waste has been spread over very vulnerable geology, the kind we've talked about tonight. Shallow soils, cracked bedrock. The results of that herd count increase over vulnerable soils was, in my opinion, very predictable. We got what we probably should have gotten. A high level of contaminated wells, all three of our major waterways on the EPA's impaired waterway listing, a growing dead zone in the Bay of Green Bay, and beach closures. In 2014, there were 114 beach closures between Door and Kewaunee County. So I think to say that we are still testing or unsure of where the problem is, I think we know where it is. Now the effort is, how do we contain the problem? How do we allow the farm community to continue to make money and prosper while protecting all of the other members of our society?
You're here.
Thank you.
Over the last, and I'm trying to get the number right, 7 or 8 years of testing water up in our townships, Red River, Lincoln, Luxembourg, and down to Casco. Those are the four major ones we talk about a lot. Red River has a contaminated well problem of 42% over those years. 42% of their wells that were tested are bad. So when you go to church and you sit in your house of worship, wherever it is, and there's 10 people there, if they lived in Red River, 4% have bad wells. Now that's just Red River. Lincoln is 41%. Luxembourg is 31%. Casco is over 29% during that same time. And it's going to get worse because more cows are more than likely coming. Our DNR has never turned down an expansion or a new permit for a cable or any farm that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong, Russ. Never. So when they want it, they get it. I've been in the banking business a long time, and I used to tell people, you cannot privatize the profits and socialize the cleanup. You're who's going to have to pay for the cleanup. They have no requirements to post a bond for failure of a business. They have no way to clean up those pits, but it's taxpayers' dollars. It's time for a change. We have to have a moratorium on cows. We have to stop this. My county, your county, will not wait one more day. I told Russ Rasmussen this, and I told it to him twice. The first time I said he's 3 sentences away from the Yakima Valley event. That's when the public sued. The last time I talked to him, I told him he was 2 sentences away from the Yakima Valley event. I'm mad, and I'm mad as hell, and I don't want to take it anymore. I moved here because I wanted it. Good luck.
I moved here because I wanted to be here also. I moved here from the Waukesha County area, and I moved here because of the dynamic dairy industry. As a dairy veterinarian, of course, that was a huge draw to me, and it still is. While I could stand here and dispute Mr. Luff's numbers, there are not 100,000 cows here. There's not been a 94% increase. I don't think you're interested in my numbers. I think what we're interested in is the fact that we are working together. We've had environmentalists, dairymen, we've had educators, we've had regulators working together in these committees. I think that should give people hope and heart. We are working together. We're working hard to come to solutions. That year and a half period that we worked together involved a lot of disagreements and a lot of discussions. I think the people here would agree that we didn't always agree, but we did come to consensus. And I feel we can come to consensus in this county, and we're going to do it by providing clean water for people and to have a healthy economy. I believe those are achievable, and I think these are some of the tools that we need to do that.
What water do you drink?
I drink my well water at the dairy and my well water at home.
I think one of the questions was about new rules and what our role would be in implementing new rules. So I'm not sure which particular rules folks are talking about, but our role would be to continue to make sure that all federal rules are implemented and to work with the state on those programs that were federally approved. And so through that, we have a compliance program, an inspection program, and we'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to work with the state for those rules that we have responsibility for.